I asked you, what comes to mind when I say crazy fans? What comes to mind? Maybe K-pop stands, or Dream stands. Or maybe you'd go a few years back and point to Justin Bieber fans? Whatever the case is, you most likely would not think of Ricardo Lopez. Who is he? Well, he was somebody. Who was he? Well, he was the Uruguayan pest exterminator, although Wikipedia colorfully labels him as a stalker. A few things you should know about Ricky was he was born on January 14th, 1975, had very low self-esteem, and he loved the Icelandic singer Bjork. Did I mention he loved the Icelandic singer Bjork? Cause you should know he loved her to death, more than his own life probably. He listened to her daily, kept posters of her in his apartment, and wrote about her in his diary. But like most diary writers like myself, he probably found it too exhausting to write in his diary every day and decided to buy a camera and have a video diary instead. And for the most part of his video diary, he seemed like a somewhat stable guy, at least compared to later on. But then tragedy struck, because at the time, he read in a magazine that Bjork was also dating singer Goldie. That was it. Whatever else had happened to him and to Ricardo in the past was nothing compared to this, as this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Ricardo soon started to vent his frustration to the camera, but soon he started talking about punishing Bjork for what she was doing. But as we later saw, Ricardo actually had some decent talent. He was an excellent painter and was good at crafts, like making a letter bomb rigged with sulfuric acid. Oh yeah, forgot to mention. Somewhere along the line, Ricky got the brilliant idea to make a letter bomb rigged with sulfuric acid, although his prototype design was a bomb with diseased blood, such as the good old Hep B. But in the end, he settled with acid. Why was he doing this? You'll soon find out. We even got to see him test out his bomb. He drew a human-like figure on a piece of cardboard and blew the bomb in its face. Luckily, it was just purple paint for now, but man, if it was acid, it sure would be deadly. The paint splattered all over the cardboard like blood in a horror movie. Then, on September 12, 1996, Ricardo finished his bomb and went to the post office, and then came back home. The finished product was a book that, when opened, the acid would explode and splatter on Bjork. He cut all of his hair off his head, covered himself in red and green paint, and at this point, he's lost it. His apartment was a disaster. He was peeing in Coke bottles under his work desk, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. He set up the TV to play Bjork one final time, set a chair beside him, and put a canvas beside himself with the words, "The Best of Me," with the date September 12 on it, on the bottom. He sat on the chair and said, "The gun is cocked, I'm ready to roll." The song "I Remember You" by Bjork played in the background as he sits there, mumbling nervously and taking deep breaths. He was clearly scared at what he was about to do. His breaths got deeper as the song was nearing its end. He put the gun in his mouth multiple times, but then took it out. Finally, the song ended, and he placed the gun in his mouth, pulled the trigger, and after the bang, he let out one final groan as he leaned over in his chair and fell to the ground. The big man had finally tumbled. It was silent now, except for the sound of his blood rushing out of his mouth, and this is where the tape ends. 4 days later, the residents of the apartment he had died in complained about a smell and even fluid dripping into their homes. So the police came in and discovered the disastrous home, all the photos of Bjork with the madman writing on the walls, and of course the camera on the wall, and Ricardo's body. There's even Polaroids of his house and body. Soon, this made the news. The news outlets even tried to interview Ricardo's brother, but he didn't seem to want to talk about it, as he quickly got in his car and drove off after walking out of the crime scene. When the police realized what Ricardo had done, they were quickly able to intercept the letter, and Bjork was free of harm. It is a sad story indeed, about the dangers of obsession, and how far someone who is mentally unstable is willing to go for attention. Ricardo had stated the reason why he did it was so when Bjork died, and he died as well, they would both meet up in heaven. But the worst part is that Bjork had broken up with Goldie days before Ricardo had killed himself, making it mostly pointless. We also know that days prior, Ricardo's mom had begged him not to buy a gun. Bjork was told about the incident, and she said she was distressed, and the incident was terrible and sad, and that people should not take her too seriously and get involved in her personal life. She even sent a card and flowers to Ricardo's family, and she left Spain, where she had recorded her third album, Homogenic. She soon after hired a security guard for her son, Sindri, because she was worried about something happening to him. A year later, after Ricky's death, she had this to say: "I was very upset that somebody had died. I couldn't sleep for a week, and I'd be lying if I said this incident didn't scare the fuck out of me. That I could get hurt, and most of all, that my son could get hurt." Lopez's family and friends were aware of his obsession with Bjork. They said that they had no idea that he had violent thoughts or was capable of violence. At one point, his brother had told him to, quote, "Get a real woman, you're obsessed." A psychiatrist who treated Lopez for anxiety before his death also stated that he did not seem dangerous. Lopez's tapes, including his suicide tape, were confiscated by the FBI and released to journalists. Although Ricardo is now dead, his legacy lives on, as documentaries and movies have been made of him. Even art of his is on sale, and all his tapes have been leaked and put on the Internet Archive. And that's the story of Ricardo Lopez, the Bjork Stalker. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.